Welcome to the Activated Story Theater's 157th podcast.
This episode we bring you The Quackling, a story from France.
Hi, I'm Dennis.
And I'm Kimberly.
And together we are the Activated Actors.
We are coming to you from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Tuscaloosa's calling me, but I'm not... That's a show that I was in years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, sing more.
It was called Tuscaloosa's Calling Me, but I'm Not Going.
Wow.
A musical. Yeah.
Ah, and that's where we are.
That's where we are. We came anyway.
We are in Tuscaloosa, fresh off the plane from Europe.
Yes, we spent an entire month in Europe.
That is why we didn't have a podcast last month. We apologize.
Yes, well, we were a bit busy last month and a bit limited in the equipment that we had with us to do a podcast.
And the time that we had available online. And it was a crazy busy whirlwind tour. And we are excited to bring you some new stories that we brought over from Europe to share with you. And we'll tell you a little bit about our travels and our adventures.
This month we'll be talking about France because that's where we began our tour. We landed in Paris, we spent 3 days in Paris, and then we did 5 other countries, and then we came back to Paris.
Yes, we were on the train traveling all around Europe. We got to learn to speak a little bit of French, a little bit of Italian, a little bit of German, a little bit of Polish.
A little bit of Dutch.
A little bit of Dutch. Very, very little, but we can say bonjour, which means hello.
We spent time in 6 countries. We passed through 3 other countries. We passed through the Czech Republic and Belgium on the train. Didn't actually get out, though. And we changed planes in Iceland.
And we flew over the UK and Greenland.
But we actually spent time in France, Italy, Austria, Poland, Germany, and the Netherlands.
Yes.
So those are the countries we'll be talking about in upcoming podcasts.
And right now, we're going to focus a little bit on France, and we'll tell you just a bit about what we saw and did over in France, and then we're going to share a story with you that comes from France.
Well, we started out by going to the Versailles Palace in Versailles, just south of Paris.
Which is where the kings would live.
Yes, it was a king's palace. It was built in the 18th century and incredibly luxurious still.
Fancy schmancy.
Yes. It was all the Versailles Palace was also the site of the Versailles Treaty, which ended World War I.
And that was signed in the Hall of Mirrors. And at that time, mirrors were a very, very big deal. There is one...
Not at World War I, but when they were...
No,
I
mean, the walls were... The mirrors... Yeah, okay, so you're saying when the mirrors were installed in the palace.
Yes.
It was a big deal. Right,
yes.
right.
Only the wealthy people could afford mirrors.
Oh, yes. And so there's a wall of this hallway that is lined with mirrors, and on the opposite side is a window. And that was considered a very big to-do. And they had grand balls in there, and fancy chandeliers, and it was a very, very fancy place.
And the grounds were also pretty elaborate and large. They have these big gardens and sculptures. The unfortunate thing was we were there in the winter, so they didn't have the fountain turned on, and statues were covered up. So,
but the nice thing is there weren't that many people looking around. It was mostly us.
So that was kind of a drawback. But we did that one day, and then we went into Paris on another day, and we visited the Paris catacombs. They are tunnels underneath the streets of Paris, miles and miles of tunnels that have been there for centuries. And in the 18th century, they had a problem with places to bury people, and the cemeteries were basically the bones were being exposed, so they started moving all of these bones into the tunnels, and there are millions and millions of them in there still.
Yeah, so we visited the catacombs, and we visited, of course, the Eiffel Tower, which was fabulous. We got to climb up inside the tower and look out on the city and take lots of pictures.
Very, very windy up there. But we did go up about halfway up. We were not able to go all the way up to the top.
Well, the top was closed because it was so windy. But we walked up the stairs to the second level of the Eiffel Tower.
600 and something stairs.
674.
Yes, 674 stairs.
674 stairs.
And we also visited Notre Dame Cathedral. What a magnificent cathedral that is.
We got to go up right next to the gargoyles.
Yes, we took a tour that takes you up to the top of that, and you're out on the outside right by the gargoyles. So that was really amazing.
Yes.
If you've ever seen the Hunchback of Notre Dame, you know what a magnificent cathedral that is, and how much lore and mystery and legend and tradition are attached to that particular cathedral.
We even got to see the bell that the Hunchback of Notre Dame rings.
Yes. There are two big bells, actually. And we got up there and got to go to the belfry and see the big bells.
Another great place to look over the city and have a wonderful view of Paris. And the one thing I really loved about Paris is everywhere you look, there's art, there's monuments, there's fancy decorations and statues, and I can really tell that they put a lot of effort into building these monuments and these great works of art. Oh, and for example, even at the train station, they have a piano that anybody can sit down and play, and people do. And you're walking by, and they're playing this wonderful music. So
yes,
just another example.
That's not just in Paris, though. That was in Italy too.
Yeah,
they did that.
a few train stations in throughout Europe, but I think I noticed it especially in France.
And of course, the French people do eat a lot of baguettes. You go walking down the streets of Paris, and you see people walking around with these baguettes under their arms or in their hands.
Bread.
Yes, a big loaf of bread, very popular there. So we got one as soon as we got into France.
That was the first thing we had to do, and the last thing as we left too. So we had to get some baguettes. So I think that kind of sums up our trip to Paris anyway. And we're going to tell you a story that comes from France right now. And next time we talk to you, we will tell you a story from Italy, and we'll tell you a bit about our trip to Italy.
All right, so now the story, The Quackling, a story from France. Once upon a time in France, there was a duck. One day, he set out to visit the king, and since he had a sore wing, that is the duck, not the king, he had to walk the whole way.
What'll I do? Na, na, na.
He was on his way to collect some money the king owed him, and had owed him for a long time. He took along a bag to put the money in. Soon he passed a house with a ladder leaning against it.
Good morning, Mr. Duck. Who said that? Well, there's nobody here but this house and the ladder. And obviously, it wasn't the former, so it must be the ladder. Wow! I've never heard of a talking ladder before. I'll have to tell my cousin Howard about this. Where are you off to this fine morning? I'm off to see the king. Oh, take me with you. I've just been leaning against this house for ages, waiting for another elopement. Well, I wouldn't mind you coming along with me, but I don't know how I could possibly carry you. Oh, I could fit into your bag. How exactly is a ladder supposed to fit into this little bag? I'm a ladder talking to a talking duck, and you ask how I'm going to fit into a bag. That's rich. You're right. I guess anything is possible. Very well. Climb into my bag. If climb is an appropriate thing to say to a ladder.
So the ladder climbed, or sort of laddered, into the bag, and the Quackling continued his journey. Soon he came to a river.
Wow! What a wide river this is! Oh, how am I supposed to get across? It's not like ducks can swim or anything.
Where are you going?
Huh? Who said that?
It's me, Old Man River.
A river can talk?
Haven't you ever heard of a babbling brook? Then why not an eloquent river? Want to hear me recite Shakespeare?
I'll pass. Except I can't because, well, you're too wide for me to cross. Anyway, to answer your question, I'm on my way to see the king.
Really? Gee, I wish I could make it to the palace. I've never been anywhere. I just stay in my bed all day. I keep hoping that if I run long enough,
I'll eventually make it to the palace myself. But so far, all I've done is run in place. And if I ever do make it to the palace, I won't be the same river that started the trip anyway.
I suppose I should feel sorry for you, especially since you don't seem very swift.
Hey, do you suppose you could take me with you?
I don't know. You think you could fit into my bag?
Of course. This is a folk tale. The laws of physics don't apply.
Oh, good. I guess that means you won't seep through and get me soaked, and very well. Flow on in.
So the river flowed into the bag, and the Quackling continued on to the palace. Soon he came to a huge hive of bees, buzzing around and playing a game of stinger tag all over the place.
Oh, shoo, bee, shoo, shoo, shoo. No, you better not try to sting me. I know kung fu. I was once a Peking duck.
Now, don't get your feathers all ruffled.
Huh? Who said that?
It's me, the hive.
The hive? No jive.
The bees are just trying to defend their territory, you know. They think maybe you want to steal their honey.
Me? Heavens, no. I don't even like honey.
What's that supposed to mean? You're saying there's something wrong with honey?
Oh, no, nothing like that. I just, I don't have very much of a sweet bill.
Oh, well, if you're not here to steal honey, then what are you doing here?
I'm just passing through on my way to the palace to see the king.
Really? Oh, that sounds absolutely royal. Why are you going to see the king? Never mind. I guess it's none of my beeswax. Say, you think you could take me and my little ones along with you?
You know, yesterday I would have said, there's no way I could possibly honor that request. But today, sure, I just hop into my bag. But you might want to rest on the ladder so the river doesn't get you all wet.
Come again?
It'll make more sense once you're inside.
So the hive and all the bees buzzed on into the sack and continued to the palace, where the duck appeared before the king.
Yes, what can I do for you, Mr. Waterfowl? Get to the point. I don't have all day. I have to get busy basking in my wealth and power.
Oh, very well. I have come to collect the debt you owe me.
Debt? Sorry, but I'm flat broke. Besides, why would I owe money to a bird? Do you lay golden eggs or something?
Oh, I'm not that kind of bird. Don't you remember 4 years ago? You hired me to get rid of an infestation of worms after a big storm. Best banquet I've ever had, by the way. You promised me 100 gold coins if it was successful, and, well, I still haven't received it. Not 1 cent. So it's time you quit ducking your responsibility.
Oh, very well. Send me a bill.
I only have one, and I need it.
I mean, send me a reminder, and then I'll send you a down payment.
I already have plenty of down. I want gold.
Oh, really? Well, I think you're nothing but a pest, and I don't like pests. Guards, seize this fowl and throw him into the pit.
And that's what the guards did.
Well, that's just great. Just because I ask for money that's rightfully mine, I get pitted. Now what am I going to do? What was that? There seems to be a noise coming from my sack. Did somebody say oil can? Oh, no, wait. I forgot. I have guests in there. Here, I'll just open it up. Oh, thank you. I really need to climb out now. We ladders might be able to fold up all portable and compact to fit into a bag, but after a while, we need to get out and stretch our rungs a bit, you know? I wish I only had your problems. I'm stuck here in the pit. I don't even have strong enough wings to fly out. And I still don't have the gold I came for. Well, not exactly. It's just a pit. No, I mean, I'm a ladder, see? And ladders are used for, I don't know, climbing walls? You mean that would work on any wall?
Far as I know.
Oh, so then I might... Oh, that is, a person could, or even a duck could, of course!
And so the ladder leaned against the wall, and the duck climbed up it and went back to face the king again.
Quack, quack! I want my money back!
You? I thought we got rid of you.
Well, think again. You still owe me money, and I still demand that you pay.
I'll pay you more than you bargained for, my fine feathered friend. Guards, seize this flippant fowl and throw him into the pot. Now your goose will be cooked.
Just stop with the goose references already. I'm not easily insulted.
So the guards seized him and threw him into a pot and lit the fire underneath him.
Oh, boy! I never realized how bad feathers can smell when they get singed. Woo-wee! Oh, too bad I left the ladder back in the pit. He was really a smart fellow, and he might have been able to help me out of this.
I can help.
Huh? What? Who said that?
It's me, the river.
Oh, that's right! I forgot. The bag had more than just one occupant. It's a good thing the king wasn't smart enough to take my bag of tricks away. Oh, here, I'll just open up the bag.
Oh, that's better. It was really getting stuffy in there, especially after those bees moved in and stirred up my pollen allergy.
Oh, and you said you could help me? Well, what can you do?
Well, let's think this through, shall we? There is a fire burning under you. Mm-hmm. Water puts out fire. Mm-hmm. I happen to be made of water. Do the math.
Oh, yes! I see what you mean. Oh, very well, very well. You have my permission to go for it. Anytime now.
And so the river put out the fire, and the duck once again went back to the king.
Quack, quack! Look who's back!
I don't believe it. You have as many lives as a cat. I wonder if it has anything to do with that sack you're carrying. Guards, seize that sack and stuff that duck into it, and then take your swords and chop into pieces. And so the guards took out their swords and surrounded the duck and closed in on him.
Uh-oh. I think this would be a good time to break for a commercial.
They snatched the sack away from the duck.
What happened to the commercial?
And they opened up the sack, and when they did, the bees flew out and stung them. Ow! 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 They also stung the king. Ah! In fact, the king and his guards ran far away and never came back. And the citizens were very happy to get rid of him.
Huzzah! The king is finally gone!
Huzzah indeed! But who shall be the new king?
Well, it should be the one who got rid of him.
You mean the duck? Won't that be kind of odd?
Stranger things have happened.
And so the duck did indeed become the king, known as King Quack I, and he was a wise and kind ruler. Some people did find it a bit strange to have a duck as a king, but not nearly as strange as his closest advisors. Buzz, buzz. Gurgle, gurgle.
Wrong, wrong.
And that's the story of the Quackling from France.
And then he moved into the Palace of Versailles and lived happily ever after.
By the way, that story is one of quite a number of stories in which the hero has what appears to be a collection of useless objects, but they turn out to be really helpful. And that's in folktales a lot. It's also in other fiction. In fact, a few years ago, I remember seeing a science fiction movie that did something very similar. I can't think of the name of it, but it had Ben Affleck and Uma Thurman.
Okay.
Anyway, it is a common type of story, fairly common type of story.
Oh, yeah. Who thought that the ladder and the river and the
hive of bees
would have been so useful?
They would have saved him, but they did. They made him king.
Did. So, well, we are on our way to Eudora, Arkansas. straight from Europe to Eudora. We're going to be doing a show there this Tuesday. So if you're in the southern Arkansas area and you want to see a show, drop on by. We'll be doing a show and a performing arts workshop after the program on Tuesday. And then we are heading west. We will be in New Mexico for some private shows. Not having those open to the public because they are at schools, but we've got shows in New Mexico, and then we have shows in California, and some of those will be open to the public. Very happy to tell you about our travels in Paris, and we thank you for listening, and thank you for waiting for this podcast, because I know we didn't get to chew one to get to talk to you last month, but very happy that we are back and we can tell you all about our travels. Oh, one more fun thing we did in Paris is slide down a giant caterpillar slide.
Yes, it's like a huge caterpillar when we slid down its tongue, basically. The tongue is like a tube that you slide down.
It was like 2 stories tall.
We also, I really love the Musical Instrument Museum. There's a museum of musical instruments of all kinds going back many centuries, and they had some very old ones and also some modern things like...
And some odd ones.
They had a theremin that we were actually able to play, and if you've never... I'm sure you've heard of theremin. You may not know what it is, but
especially if you watch that science fiction.
Yes, well, not that one, but many of the old science fiction movies from the 50s would make use of the theremin a lot. It makes this weird electronic kind of sound. So we actually got to play one of those, and they had a what's called an octabass, which is a bass fiddle that's about 15 feet high.
It was big.
Really fascinating museum.
I think you'd have to stand on a chair to play it. It was so big, and really tiny instruments and old instruments and crazy instruments. So that was a lot of fun to see. We hope you've had a chance to visit Paris at some point, or you can get a chance to do so in the future. Because we really had a good time over there, and happy to be back to tell you some stories.
And we'll see you next time when we'll talk about what we did in Italy.
Yes, so stay tuned and look forward to your feedback. We'll catch you next month.
Stay activated.
Activated Story Theater is committed to bringing fun, educational shows to schools and libraries nationwide. On stage, we use physical comedy, American Sign Language, imaginative props, and a giant, oversized book to bring multicultural folktales to life. For booking information, check out our website, activatedstorytheater.com, where you can also find out when the activated actors will be performing near you, read a story, or order one of our audio CDs. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or listen on Stitcher. We look forward to your comments and folktale suggestions. Stay activated. Until next time.